Hey guys, welcome back to the Smell the Leather Cricket Podcast where we discuss all things cricket from an average Joe's perspective. I'm Adit, and joining me as always is my co host Gaurav, and we are going to be talking about the first ODI between India and Australia, the things that went wrong for India, and if we see them bouncing back in the second ODI. But before that, you might want to click that subscribe button down below, and also a special shout out to Champion123 in the comment section for requesting this video. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. For the benefit of our viewers, we'll just give you a brief overview of the game before moving on to the discussion at hand. So, Australia elected to bat first and scored 374 for 6 in their 50 overs with hundreds from Finch and Smith and notable contributions from Warner and a quick fire 45 of 20 balls from Maxwell towards the end. Shami was the highest wicket taker with 3 wickets. Moving on to India's batting, India fell 66 runs short with top scores from Pandya with a 90 and a 70 odd from Dhawan. Uh, Hazelwood picked up 3 wickets and Zampa 4 wickets. That's the overview. Now, Gaurav, what do you think went wrong for India? In specifics, let's start with the bowling.
Yeah, see, they look way off the radar. Dare I say they look pretty soft as well compared to Australia's pace attack. In the initial overs, they didn't bowl the right areas. We have seen Finch and Warner struggling against the ball pitched up. Warner struggles against the ball going away, and Finch, we have seen him getting out a lot to LBWs and bowled. They bowled marginally short, and when we see the wagon wheel as well, most of the runs have been scored off short balls, the cuts and the pulls. Lots of runs are there. So yeah, they lacked uh, consistency in terms of line and length there. I was hoping Shami specifically to be on point against Warner because he bowls lovely lengths and lines to left-handers, and would have been beneficial if he could have repeated that first ball of the innings where he bowled a lovely outswinger to David Warner. But unfortunately, that was not the case. And as Virat Kohli mentioned as well, post the 25th over when they were not getting wickets, the shoulder seemed to be dropping, and it was much more like they were waiting for the batsman to make the mistake rather than taking on themselves. With it showed on their uh, field placements, their fielding as well. They dropped catches. They were sloppy on the field, and when you drop catches of players like Steven Smith, more often than not, you're going to have to pay for that. And that was the case. He scored a lovely century and, yeah, took the game away from India. What do you think, though? I mean, the spinners, you think in the middle overs, especially Kuldeep and Chahal, now that combination is not there, Jadeja is not an attacking option. You think that's a problem for India?
Now, usually Chahal doesn't get a lot of wickets, but then he seems to contain very, very well along with Kuldeep Yadav. That seemed to be lacking. And when you compare him to his opposite number in Adam Zampa, you see him getting 4 wickets and he was economical as well. So I think that's a slight issue for India. But then Yuzi is a class bowler and you would back him to perform. It was an off day for most of the bowling attack, India's bowling attack. So I think you would give him another chance before looking at probably Kuldeep Yadav or a combination of both of them, like India has been persisting with for a while now. Apart from that, I would also like to focus on Bumrah. I think he looked a little bit out of sorts when you compare him to the Bumrah from the IPL. And also his ODI record in 2020 hasn't been very great. He's picked up 1 wicket before the series in the whole of in the beginning of 2020. Which was of Adam Zampa. But then I felt like it just Bumrah lacked a little bit of that fiery Bumrah that we are used to. That was probably my opinions on what went wrong for India's bowling.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with you. Also, one more point that I would like to is Saini looked out of place. We saw Saini getting injured during the IPL, and when he was not bowling very well during the IPL as well, apart from that super over against Mumbai Indians. So the matches after that he played, he was all over the place. His pace was not up there, and due to the injury concerns as well, we heard the news of him complaining about the back spasm. So that must have played a part as well. So I see a definite case of replacing him with Shardul. He gives a lot with the bat as well. Yeah.
Any other changes? Do you see maybe Kuldeep Yadav coming in?
See, I mean, when we talk about India's team combination in totality, I think it's pretty shallow and one-dimensional, if I may say. Their bowlers can't bat and their batters can't bowl. So, and even if you do bring in Kuldeep, you have to leave out either of Jadeja or Chahal. Chahal, you would want to give him a longer run. It seemed like an of the on the field, but Jadeja with his batting abilities, you don't want to keep him out of the team. So yesterday we saw post Jadeja. There was, I mean, it was quite embarrassing to see Saini batting at number 8. So yeah, I mean, there is a definite case of lack of players who can bat and bowl. And the sad part for India is even in the domestic cricket, there are not many players who are coming up with these kind of abilities where they have a main skill in batting or bowling, and they can do a bit of batting or bowling. So the players like Akshar Patel and Shivam Dubey, who they have tried, but they don't seem to be performing at the highest level. So yeah, it's a worry. It's a worry unless Hardik Pandya starts bowling, but you actually can't wait for him to bowl. He also mentioned that India needs to be grooming players who are all rounders in the limited overs format. But this team, to be honest, doesn't seem to be too threatening. You see 2 or 3 match winners in there, but when you see that team in totality, it doesn't seem to be like a winning side. It would take individual brilliance of someone like a Kohli or KL Rahul or Bumrah to take them through. But yeah, that's a definite worry for Indian side.
Now, someone who did win was Australia, and let's briefly mention them. And most of the things did go right for Australia. Do you just think that they were the better side overall?
Yeah, for sure. I think they got most of the things on point. Finch, I mean, he just looks a different player whenever plays for the Australian side, doesn't he? I mean, IPL every year we expect a lot from him, but for some reason he's not able to perform there. But Australia wouldn't mind. I mean, he keeps getting runs for them, and yeah, also I think the 50 over format helped for him to get in form. He could take that extra time. When during his innings, we saw in the initial overs not timing it properly, but then he stuck, and we all know how good a player he is once he gets set. Warner, like always, he couldn't get on to get a big one, but then he did a pretty well job to support Finch, and afterwards it was just a carnage from Smith and Maxwell. So yeah, even the bowlers Stark had an off day, but I think Hazelwood bowled brilliantly. Zampa always seemed to be like taking wickets. He goes unnoticed, but if you see his stats in 2020, he has taken some 25 wickets in 12 matches, which is tremendous. So yeah, seems like all is going well for Australia. Although Stoinis's injury seems to be a concern. He's not sure for the availability of the second ODI, but still they would be backing to repeat their performance in the second ODI. What do you see any changes in the Australian side though? I mean, who do you see replacing Stoinis? Probably someone like a Matthew Wade or any other option?
I think since Australia likes those extra bowling options, they might just go in with Ashton Agar. Uh, Wade might is a good shout as well, but I feel like they might go with Ashton Agar just so that they get that extra bowling options, which India seems to be lacking at the moment. Now we've spoken a lot about India's negatives and the things that went wrong for them, but let's not forget this is one of the best ODI teams in the world. So, do you see any changes for India next game, and do you see them bouncing back and winning the next game?
To be honest, there are not many changes apart from the one that I already mentioned of replacing Saini with Shardul, because there's not any batting post Jadeja. Even yeah, I mean, let's just see yesterday's game when Pandya did get out. Even then, the required rate was not much, and had they had some batting post Jadeja, they might as well have been closer to the target. But yeah, if you have such a long tail, that's going to be a problem in each of the games. I see case for Shardul coming in. They need to address the problem of Share. He looked out of the place. The short ball problem keeps coming back to him. And at the international level, if you're not gonna improve on that, top bowlers and top sides are gonna use that against you a lot. So yeah, I do see them having the ability to bounce back because they have some real world class players, and Pandya's form would be the real positive. He I think batted superbly. He might had he batted 5 or 7 more overs, who know what would have happened. But they have a lot to think about. Especially their bowling department. They need to get their act together. What do you think, though? Any other changes apart from say Saini and Shardul? Any other changes you see?
Not really, but just to focus a little bit on the batting, I think if you saw Mayank Agarwal, he played a lot of good shots, and the ball that he got out to, it was, I think, more induced from scoreboard pressure rather than him not being able to face that ball. But as you mentioned, Shreyas Iyer, on the other hand, that ball that he got out to, I think Australia are going to bombard him with short balls for the rest of the series based on that
Yeah.
particular dismissal.
Yeah.
Also, KL Rahul getting out to a low full toss, you wouldn't expect that from him too much. So I wouldn't really focus on that a lot. Kohli, he played a lot of shots for his 21. A lot of them were crisp shots, apart from the first run or so that Zampa dropped off him. But then he looked really good as well. So there are a lot of positives for India, at least in the batting department, and they can really compete with Australia. And we might see India just sort of bouncing back in the next game.
Yeah, we all hope that they do. We don't want a dead rubber in the third match. So yeah, let's hope that we get to see Kohli special and a Bumrah special, and it'll be a great match if they can, they can perform like we know they can. Then it should be a close match, and hopefully India can get over the line.
For sure. We are bleeding blue. Are you? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thanks a lot, Gaurav, and thanks a lot for watching, you guys. See you guys very, very soon.
Thanks. Cheers.